What's up guys, my name is Christian and right now I'm building my dream home here in Bali, Indonesia. You are looking at the Lost Villa and I'm documenting the entire process of building it from the ground up. If you want to see how this started from a jungle plot of land, then you're going to want to start with the first 90 days, the first 3 months of the build, which was documented in part 1 linked below. Now it's time to show you what happens over the next 3 months. For 2 weeks, I've been super busy. I've been traveling to the north of Bali, went back to 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗦𝗬𝗓𝗏. Now, I'm back here and it looks like literally 2 months worth of work has been done in just these 14 days. So this is really cool. This entire rectangular area is a pond. And the pond is a very, very special piece to me because I told 𝗦𝗦𝗕𝗦𝗦𝗢𝗢𝗔𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗢𝗦 with 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗏𝗕𝗢𝗡 and 𝗏𝗡𝗡𝗅𝗏 that I wanted to have green and blue everywhere you look. And they created this pondscape that you're gonna basically have a bridge that floats. So you'll walk across the pond, water on both sides, fountain will be gushing water out right here. And then you're gonna take like a big hard cut and like a thunderbolt, it kind of zigs and zags. And then the path will take you right here to the front door. I haven't yet found my door, but I'm looking for manufacturers that do massive grand doors. If I were to pick one style that was really important to me in this home, it's kind of like Japanese minimalism. So as you come through here, this will be one of the areas where you feel that Japanese inspiration. This little courtyard in the middle of the home, dividing the rooms from the living room. And so I've actually just now hired my landscaper and I went with Anton. So Anton, when he visited the land when it was still a jungle, was immediately like, I want to work on this project because he is one of the most famous, no, he's the most famous arborist and landscaper on the island. It's also kind of one of the most expensive, but he is somebody that truly is just passionate about what he does. Trees, plants, they're his thing. So the moment he saw what we were doing with Lost Villa, he's like, look, I want to work with you. I'm very pumped about this project. And so just the other day, we made it official. The contract is signed. He's already shown me some of the renders that he believes would be cool designs. So I'll give you a little bird's eye view of how this Zen garden is going to be done. Japan has just announced that they're reopening their doors and I actually want to go there just to find some key little furnishings for the home. One of the things that is really cool is I want to find one of those single piece steel teapot sets for myself and for you if you decide to stay. A little area to enjoy a Zen garden tea experience. I feel like we gotta name this tree. If you guys have a name, just comment it down below. This is my favorite tree of the property just because it is literally built into the home. Aside from that one tree over there, that's probably the second biggest tree on the plot. All you see is beautiful treetops hovering above this building. Even when the ceiling goes up, you won't lose sight of that because of all the openings we've created looking out into the jungle. And actually you can hear the cicadas have just decided to start a little choir. This is one of the biggest updates that I have for you. We now have a swimming pool. Before you could see basically into the basement area where the cinema will be and the extra spare room. Now this is all filled with concrete and you actually see just how long this pool is. Definitely enough to do a few lengths after your morning coffee. So this is going to be a separated kitchen. Now, as much as a separate kitchen area feels a little weird to me, it's not just about building for me here. As I said, I'm not gonna be here all the time. Sometimes I'm gonna be setting off on a trip. And so when this place is up for rent, it's not going to be exactly the cheapest place on the block. So one of the things we're looking to include is going to be a chef. We want to include 24/7 cleaning and servicing for this property. And so we also have here an expansive maid's quarters, which will basically allow for staff to always be on the premise without taking away from the privacy of the guests. And same applies for this kitchen, to be able to prepare food while you're still enjoying the living area without the smells of food or all the sounds of preparing it. This building is moving so lightning fast, so I have not actually seen down here in a little while. Let's go take a look. Even with an expansive piece of land, you're starting to see how we've pretty much built on a single floor, which means that instead of building upwards, we're starting to build outwards, and we've expanded quite a bit on our land, and the tip of this large pool brings it out to a neighbor's area. This is the realities. We have to now plan around others who are starting to build. We can see here the neighbor is actually building the backside of their home towards us, which is really quite ideal. But even if they hadn't, we're working with the best landscapers to completely erase any existence of outside world. We're gonna have probably about 100 trees planted all across the property. So you will not have even a single clue of any neighbor's existence, which is again the concept of this home. Privacy, escaping 𝗡𝗢𝗓 without leaving 𝗡𝗢𝗓. So here we are at the front end of the pool, the furthest part away from the house. What you'll see is this is basically going to be the first spare room that I would have guests stay in, because it's under the pool. You've got the privacy of being hidden away in this property and having an expansive garden where nobody else can see into. So one of the best things about this home is something that I can't show you, you have to listen for. You hear birds. You hear the chirping, you can hear the sound of the leaves blowing in the wind. One of the trickiest things when finding land is trying to predict what's not already there. The beauty of this land was that majority of the home is actually already surrounded by things that aren't going anywhere, that provide peace and quiet and basically protection and predictability for what's going to be there tomorrow. The scariest thing is when your neighbor has a plot of land and you have no idea what they're gonna build. Luckily, my neighbor to the front and the back have already started building, and they're building beautiful 3-bedroom villas that will, once built, cause absolutely no disturbance and won't even slightly impact the privacy of the Lost Villa. It's time to go into uncharted territory for both you and I. It's time to see the property from a different height. Let's go up to the rooftop. I feel like I need a viewing deck up here. This is so cool. So check this out right here. The tree poking out of the roof. And this is the beautiful canopy that was saved by my architects being absolute G's and cutting out a hole into the roof. Now I have to be honest with you. Currently there's no use of the upper floor, but standing up here, all I can think of is how do we make a way with all the designs being complete to use this space? And I know my architects will hate me if I go to them saying we have to use an upper space, but damn, look at this. Imagine a little viewing platform here. Sunset's right over there. One of the huge benefits of keeping all these trees isn't just the privacy, it's actually what I feel right now. So Bali's a hot place, we all know that. But with all these beautiful trees, it's actually incredibly cool up here. We actually have a really nice natural breeze coming through. There's even a good chance that with all these sliding doors throughout the house, we won't really need to be using too much AC to keep the place cool. This entire bridge looking structure in the next week to 2 weeks will be spanning all the way across to the other side. It's going to basically act as a rain cover. That way you can always get from side to side in the house without ever having to be soaked in the rain. I just heard a splat and this thing fell out of a tree onto the roof. Look at it. Wow, it's beautiful. You see a lot of lizards, but oh no! What? No! All right, little construction update. We'll be building a little tombstone for Philip in the Zen garden, so stay tuned. All right. So today we've got 2 very important meetings. Whenever you're building a home, you're not just making a decision on who you hire to build it, you're also having to make 100 other decisions, like what countertops are you gonna do? If you're getting a hot tub, are you going for a 5-seater or a 6-seater or a lay flat style? Well, these are some of the decisions we have to make today. And this is the office of my architects, and they've just received some samples. So let's go take a look at the countertops we're gonna be going with. So there's many different ways that you can outfit your house. Countertops can be done in different synthetic plastics, it can be done with marble, and they can also be done with this material. Now, this is a material that Nico and Kiko, the architects I've been working closely with, have been recommending and basically raving about. So I've been to the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal is made out of marble, but what you might not realize is the Taj Mahal is constantly changing color. Marble is porous, and because of that, despite it being a very high-end and high-quality desirable finish, it does come with some levels of aging, especially in a kitchen. If you leave a coffee mug or a glass of water, you're actually gonna start to see forms of staining that will happen over time. The solution is this. This is called 𝗏𝗏𝗃. It's a man-made marble, is kind of the best way I could describe it. They basically have this giant factory with a giga press. They get all of these minerals together and then they press it. And then what you're looking at right here, it looks completely real. You get the benefits of a natural looking marble. You get the story that gets told through this kind of stripes and striations, but you don't have any sign of aging and you don't have any of the stains that will happen, which is great in the high impact areas, especially like the kitchen island. So this is the 𝗏𝗏𝗃 handbook. There's nothing quite like having it and being able to touch it, feel it, understand how it's gonna look in your countertops. This is a pattern called 𝗏𝗧𝗕𝗘. Now, it's more of a glossy finish, which I quite like, especially for the kitchen island. If you want to see a bigger slab, that's kind of what you would get. So you got a lot of stories being told through that. It's a statement piece, really. Now, in terms of pricing, 𝗦𝗏𝗘𝗦 is actually more expensive than most marbles are. You can get Italian marbles that are significantly more, but your average Balinese marble that most people are using here are going to be less expensive. But this is kind of like future-proofing yourself, especially if you're going to have a property that's getting rented. People are not as careful with your things as you are. So it's kind of like an investment, and it also gives me infinitely more choices in colors. 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏 is going to be the color used in the main area. It'll be used in the living room, on some of the coffee tables. It's going to be used on the island. This is a very similar finish to what we're looking for in the master bathroom. Here are two different finishes that I'm considering for the downstairs bedroom. I like the glossy finish for the kitchen. I think that'll be nice for especially an area of high impact, to be able to just clean it off like that. But then for the bathrooms, I kind of like the grittiness of the matte finish. This is Sky Liquid. You can see a big slab here. It's a lot of personality, a lot of striations.
Striations means a series of ridges, furrows or linear marks, and is used in several ways.
I think you're right. I don't think it's a decision I can make in one sitting. I'll keep you posted on which of the finishes we go with, but we do have another meeting, so let's go. As you can see, I'm glistening, and that's because it's hot. It's humid here in Bali, but while it's hot during the day, in the evenings, it gets kind of cold, and it gets way too cold to ever want to go in a pool, which is why I'm currently on the market looking for a jacuzzi/hot tub for my villa. I pretty much don't know any other villas that have one, but this is the Lost Villa, so. All of these jacuzzis are actually fitted by them. They import all the pieces from abroad, and then they are actually assembled here, and they handle all the after service. I've done a little bit of research, and so far this is the only one that actually fits the bill for what we're looking for. You can do kind of like a more budget way of doing a jacuzzi/hot tub, which is to basically install a pump and some jets inside of like a concrete handmade tub, but it will never provide as sophisticated of a hot tub experience. Like probably about 50 to 60 jets in this. You couldn't really do that without having a proper assembled jacuzzi like this. Guys, this is 𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏.
Hi.
Today, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has prepared a few choices and styles for me. Next to the pool, there's a big concrete square. It was intentionally left larger than the hot tub will be because you need to have access points for being able to do maintenance on the hot tub. So with that, it gave us the choice of basically doing a 6-seater, a 5-seater, or a 4-seater.
This model like model 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, 4-seater and one lay-down.
As we've all probably experienced at least once, there's some hot tubs that have lay flats, and then there's some that are just standard seats. So standard seats you can fit more people in, which is great, but it's also kind of nice when you've got a glass of wine, maybe it's just reading a book, hanging out yourself. I think I need to get one lay flat. So this right here is their best seller. It's got 2 lay flats, but in total, you can only seat 4 people. We're gonna go for 4 standard seats, 1 lay flat, which is going to be their 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 model. Oh wow, say less.
Yeah.
The cool thing is you get to choose the interior color of your hot tub, but because LED lights, especially at night, are going to be such a big part of this, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is saying that the whites generally reflect the best. I think I like how white looks anyways. It's probably just a little bit more premium looking for me. What I'll say to you right now is if you struggle at making decisions, good luck building a house, because it's literally the process of making 1,000 decisions. These are all the whites I get to choose from. So a lot of you guys have been asking, when can I invest in the Lost Villas? Let's talk about it. Thunderstorm later, and we're back at the Lost Villa. As we all know, we're in a very interesting place in the world of investments. A lot of things have been going downhill in the market. Inflation is eating away at everyone's savings. And I have to say, the Lost Villa is one of the best, if not the best part of my portfolio. The Bali property market has been absolutely crazy, super high demand, even in a time where most markets are starting to hit the brakes and reverse. Now, if you've been following the series, you already know that that lower plot of land down there is going to be my next project. That land right there is gonna have between 6 to 8 different homes on it, depending on how we cut it up. Just like the Lost Villa, it is surrounded by beautiful tall trees, and the design will be a contemporary modern, just like the one you're seeing here. My hope is by December, January at the latest, we're going to have the renders, the designs, and the blueprints all finished up to be able to see what may be your future home. Whether it becomes your personal home or just an incredible investment property, these properties will be on sale, and I would love to have you as my neighbor. If you're interested in investing in my properties or you're looking to build your own, you're gonna wanna join the email list down below where I'll be sharing all of the best vendors I've worked with. It's also where you'll be the first to be notified when those pre-sale properties go up, because there's only 6 to 7. I'm gonna be living in the other, so they're gonna go like this. Now, I don't know about yourself. I've had a bit of a rough go in my investing career. I kind of got in 2020, and since then, we've been hit with inflation. We've seen the collapse of the index funds. Even gold and silver are getting hit hard. But while few investors are doing well in this period, there's one asset class that has been outperforming and absolutely killing it. And that's contemporary blue chip art. Artwork by the likes of the Banksys, the Warhols, the Monets of the world. This asset class has outperformed the S&P 500 by 164% over the last 26 years. And today's video sponsor is Masterworks, a company that allows you to get fractionalized shares of these world famous art pieces. Now, people like you and me, we probably can't go buy a Banksy painting for ourselves, but through Masterworks, we're able to buy 1/100th or maybe 1/100,000th of that famous Warhol painting. Never before has the average person had the ability to get into this asset class. And this is quite literally where billionaires have been silently stockpiling a lot of their investments, especially during this period of inflation. Masterworks is democratizing the art market, and it's never been a more exciting time to get in. The problem is, there is a wait list to become part of Masterworks, but through that link down below, the Lost LeBlanc community can get started today. So start diversifying that portfolio and take a look at what Masterworks can do for your investment portfolio. Now, there's 2 ways to build a home in Bali. You can get your house up faster, do it for less money, but then the real concern is what happens when things go wrong, when there's an earthquake, when there's insane amounts of rain in a year, which happens almost every year. That's when you start to run into problems. With this Lost Villa, we're building something that's made to last for hopefully decades upon decades, and this is one of those parts. This is a very, very expensive steel support. We've got several of them, and it's also what's going to make this part of the home so unique. This is all going to be open concept. There's not a single support that's going to come down in the middle of the home. And as you can imagine, with that much weight, you need to make sure the weight's being distributed with something incredibly strong. I found it very interesting to see a lot of the processes and how they're doing things. They're applying enough pressure just to bend them into shape. These rectangles are all tied around a series of poles to create almost like these skeletal-like spines that will be existing beneath the concrete. So there we go. A rectangle is made, thrown on there. That is enough for today. Let's let a few days go by and see what happens. It's time for another update because I've just gotten back from backpacking through Thailand, and today we have an important site meeting with the contractor and the architects. One of the things that I'm learning as a first-time home builder is that every construction site, no matter how finished the plans are, involves 100, 1,000, and 10,000 different decisions that need to be made over the course of these 12 months. And most of the decisions I'm completely uninvolved from, which has been beautiful. But every now and then, there are moments where I have to step in and kind of play the middleman, trying to explain to the architect what the contractor said and vice versa. Look, I'm not a builder, and so things sometimes get a little tricky. So today's meeting is all about bringing these people face to face, having that conversation so that instead of having these 5 or 10 questions that are lingering, we can get through it all in a matter of 10 minutes. One very exciting update, this entire roof line is now complete. See that giant steel beam that goes from side to side? Apparently that was lifted by hand. They've got like some sort of mechanism where everyone's just pulling. How many people had to pull it up?
5 people.
Only 5?
Yeah, only 5.
Oh my gosh. How big are they? Don't underestimate nasi goreng. A lot of protein in there, I guess. I gotta give credit where credit is due. Nico and Kiko. Kiko's not here today, but you guys have done such a good job. 𝗧𝗧𝗕𝗘, I can never say the name. Did I say it right? 𝗧𝗧𝗕𝗘𝗘. You guys should definitely check it out. I'll have Nico's information down below if you guys want to reach out. They've been so good. One of the things that we're doing is we're gonna put glass along the entire border of the pool, because I love those Instagram photos when people are like leaning over and you can see the water being held back by the glass. Here's the reality of building. You may have a plan, but that plan will always change. And as this rooftop got built, I had my first opportunity to see this property from a totally different view. This is the roof, and it wasn't supposed to be in use, but if you look down here, this triangular Zen garden is going to be an incredible photo opportunity. So I want to create some sort of ladder or small staircase that allows us to take photos from above, and that way when you are here, you can capture the memory in the most beautiful, candid way. You can have somebody drinking high tea down below and get that photo from above. You can then maybe follow a walkway to this treetop and have a treehouse experience. I might shoot myself in the foot here. This might not ever come to be true if we find a reason it can't be done. This wasn't in the original blueprints, but the cool thing is Nico and Kiko, they only take projects they're excited about. And when I told Nico, he seems to be pretty open to finding a way to make it work. So today is a very exciting meeting for me. As you guys know, I'm not the 21-year-old backpacker that I used to be. I'm starting to become a man. And with that, I've become a gardener, a green thumb. And that's one of the main points of this property. It's to feel like you are in the jungle. And the man that's gonna help make that happen even more than it is now is this guy right here, Anton.
Hi everybody.
He is a professional landscaper. You've been on the island for how long now?
16 years in Bali, 18 years in Indonesia.
Wow.
So a long time to experience landscapes, tropical paradise.
Yeah.
Everything to do with Bali.
And just like all parts of this house, I didn't work with the first person I met. I talked up to a few people, tried to figure out who had the vision, who had the skill set to be able to help me take 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏 to that next level. And I'll give you a little preview of kind of where Anton thinks that this could go. We are looking at building a man-made river.
Man-made river, terracing the garden to follow that classic 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗏 feel. At the top here we have a small pond cascading through, courtyards of grass, and integrating the landscape into the house, finishing at the end at a beautiful pond and small jetty.
Couldn't have said it any better. So just like Anton explained, we've got this man-made river. There's gonna be like almost like a little bit of a walkway going across it, and we'll have a pump system that basically sends the water back up. So completely sustainable. I'm pumped. And he's got some big ideas for some unique trees we're gonna bring to the land. One of the most beautiful trees that I think I've ever seen is called the Bodhi tree. Not to be confused with the banyan tree. They look very similar. They've got these very unique creeping roots that kind of scatter, which can also be very invasive to buildings, so you have to be careful. But the banyan tree is sacred, so you're actually not allowed to plant them. Am I right in saying that?
Correct. They hold spirits, so Balinese are wary about having banyan trees in the landscape.
Yeah.
So we're using the Bodhi tree that still has the unique, beautiful stem.
Wow.
It'll be an ancient tree, probably 60 years old, and we'll import that into the garden.
Wow. Where are you gonna get it from?
It'll either come from West Bali or East Java.
You were telling me that in Bali, it's like the greatest gift. What grows in 6 months takes, you said 6 years in Australia?
Oh, so long, yeah. I mean, we can do instant things here like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. And so this Bodhi tree, he said it's gonna come in around 6 meters, I think you said?
Yeah, 6 meters tall and a girth this big. It's going to be super huge. The last one we moved took 18 people to bring in.
And how tall will it grow?
It will eventually become probably a 20-25 meter tree. I expect to see probably 3 to 4 meters of growth in the first 6 months of the new sapling growth.
Wow.
And then eventually grow.
And that's a 60-year-old tree?
A 60-year-old tree.
I gotta say, like, I'm super into the interior design. I'm super into choosing the cabinets and the surface tops, but I think the gardening is probably the thing that has me most excited. As I already told you guys, this needs to be a photo op, like something iconic, not just another garden, but something like you see the photo and you know it's the 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏. That's kind of why I've hired the best of the best. I mean, I need somebody that can help me take that vision to the next level. And so with gardening, with like passageways and maybe even the use of like those Japanese style stones, we're gonna try to find a way to make that photo that everybody wants, because let's face it, that's how businesses are built in 2022. It's not enough to just like provide beds. You have to provide an experience. You were saying we might need to trim this one back, right?
Yeah, what's important is that horticulturally, we look after these trees. So because we've touched the root systems of the trees, we need to touch the canopy to balance what we've done below the surface and get the vigor back by pruning well the trees.
is it reasonable that this could be turned into an additional outdoor platform for seating up here?
We need to know the design first.
But it's not too late to make that choice. It's just more of the architects would have to.
of course.
If you were left to your creative controls, like what would you recommend with this? Because we have a lot of beautiful space up here.
Look, I think you could have lounges, I think you could have outdoor dining, I think you could have barbecue areas. I mean, it's just a fabulous terrace.
Well, that's pretty much how it goes. Every time I visit, there's new ideas, and some of them will come to be, some will just not. All I can say is there's definitely a need for another update, and I'm gonna end the video here. If you wanna see the playlist from the very start, how to buy land in Bali, all of that, it's linked down below. Now, if you wanna get all of the details of how much things are costing, the grand total, as well as what suppliers I'm using, my landscaper, my architect, my contractor, and everyone else I trust through this process, then make sure you join the email list. It's gonna be linked down below, and that's where I'll be keeping up with the most detailed information. All right, guys, let's get lost again in the next one.